everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Stone Genius Podcast. My name's Ro. I'm the Stone Genius. You know me. I'm often stoned. I'm always a genius. And I am stoned right now. So I am good into this episode, I will say. I have a special guest that we going to welcome to the show for the first time. And I'm gonna welcome them now, and then I have something to say to them. So this is an up-and-coming rapper out of the state of Oklahoma. Welcome to the program, 918Slasher. Welcome.
What's good, everybody?
Hey, man, it's so nice to have you on the program. And the first thing I wanted to say is thank you to you for postponing. We originally had a date set, and I needed to postpone. And the reason I wanted to postpone was I wanted to make sure that I had listened to enough of your catalog that I could reference some songs. I had watched the video Handsomer with Russ, and in it, he asked Tiffany Haddish what her 5 favorite songs of his was, and she didn't have an answer. And so I wanted to make sure if you ask me that question, I actually do have that answer. So I wanted to thank you for delaying being on the program, because it let me listen to more of your music, and I very much appreciate that. So thank you very much. Okay, sorry about that, folks. We just lost this connection real quick. So anyway, I just wanted to thank you again for pausing for me so I could listen to more of your music, because I did come up with a list that we'll probably talk about at some point. But thank you very much for pausing the first time that we had this arranged.
No, it's all good. I appreciate you. I appreciate you having me on because because I mentioned some details on why we had to postpone just behind the scenes and everything. So I appreciate you understanding and everything. And it's just great to be on. I appreciate the opportunity, and yeah, I think it's going to be a banger of an episode. Can't wait to dive into this conversation.
And you know, I think the first time I searched you, I only found a couple of songs. And then we were talking before we hit record, because you're an indie artist currently with no label, but you have, what's your subscriber base, or what's your listen to per month? What are you getting listens to right now?
On Spotify, I am borderline. I'm at 5.8K right now.
That's awesome. That is. And are you finding a lot of that is new fans, or because one thing I found, if someone finds you once for one song, then they go back and start listening to your whole catalog, which is kind of what I did. Do you find that to be kind of can you see the numbers of the songs that are doing well and seem to be most positively received currently?
Yeah, I often check my analytics. I'm able to do that because Spotify for Artists, they allow artists to dive deeper into how their projects and songs are doing and everything. And yeah, I mean, there is reoccurring themes like that. Sometimes it doesn't happen with every song because just because of the fact that I'm doing my own wave, I'm just doing everything on my own level and just going about it like just by myself and everything. Sometimes there will be times where it's like, there will only be a certain amount of hype because of like one song, and then your viewership will kind of take a little bit of a dive for a certain amount of time because you're just now getting the traction of the algorithm. So as that progresses, that becomes more of a reoccurring theme, but it's more so like it's pretty diverse. I'm not gonna lie. I'm actually getting a lot of UK fans recently, and just a lot of people from a lot around the world and everything have been tuning into what I've been putting out. It's dope to see, but yeah, we definitely have that ability, and it's pretty diverse.
That's cool that you do. I sometimes do that. I mean, I really do this program more just for myself, my wife doesn't want to listen to me, so I thought the rest of the world should listen to me. So I can go look at those, but I do it so infrequently because I don't want that to change me, which probably a lot of people that listen go, maybe you need changing. But like, I was really surprised. The last time I checked, I was listened to in 43 countries. And before that, the last time, and it had probably been 8, 10 months, I was at half that. Maybe I was like at 22. And so
Right.
it's neat that you can see that. And it's kind of weird because then I'm looking, and that's what I don't want to dive down that rabbit hole, me personally. But you can see some of those numbers, because then you're like, who the heck is listening to me in Liechtenstein? And I had to look
Right.
up. I was like, I think I know where Liechtenstein is, and I did not know where Liechtenstein was. I was not even close to it. But so, as an up and coming artist, how long have you been putting out music right now?
2 years as of last month.
Wow. So, have you found that you need to consistently put something out? That do you find a sweet spot? Like if I put out one song a month or one song a week or whatever that number can be, or is it social media? Do you dive into social media a lot? What seems to gain you the most traction, most consistent traction?
Well, as of recently, so I recently dropped a song about a month ago. I think it's about a month old at this point, called "All I Need," and it's very emotional, and it touches on a whole different level, on a personal level for me, and it's coincidentally been the most successful solo song that I've ever dropped, as well as the fastest growing song that's ever dropped. And I mean, people, not only is it the most easy, not only is it the easiest thing to write about, but it's everybody's gonna love something that they can relate to. So that's always gonna pull more traction than what I originally started, forming my image around, and what I really, drew my origin of inspiration for the way that I approach this whole music thing. But I mean, it really changes. The pattern really changes because people change, and you never really know what their taste is, what they're going to be in the mood for. So sometimes it'll be, I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. For this year, I was active for maybe half of it, and then I mean, during the middle of the year, I dropped something in January and February, and then I dropped a collaborative project with a frequent collaborator of mine and very close friend of mine, Gio de Menace. Um, and then after that, I kind of just I went ghost for a while. I'm not gonna lie, just because my personal life and everything just kind of started weighing down and just surrounding me, and all that. So it's like I kind of went quiet until like August, I think it was. I
So
dropped like a free.
I wanted to tell you also, because you mentioned Gio de Menace, because I want to mention him again, because I have the note down, No Feelings 2. Is that the song that you were
Yeah.
talking? So that I actually have that note down here. I very much enjoyed that song. And going, just hopping back even a little bit further, you had mentioned the song All I Need. So that actually was my number one song. So I was listening through them. It changed quite a bit. So I ended up just going to a 3 because I kept crossing out. I ran out of room. But All I Need was number one for me, which, just like you said, it seems to have been gaining the most traction. And in parentheses, I actually put good video. The other videos were good, but there was something different about the video that I saw on YouTube, that you can find on YouTube. All I Need. I thought it was really great.
Yeah, fun fact actually, that is the Wichita Mountains in the western Oklahoma. I actually didn't, as a kid, I would always hear stories about them, and I never thought they were real. Like mountains in
Right.
Oklahoma, what? And then I visited them, and I was like, I took a whole bunch of videos, and then I made this song, and I was like, man, this is a dope ass visualizer for a lyric video. This will fit perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, I very much enjoyed that. So people should go out and check that out. All I Need by 918 Slasher. Really great video. And just so that you know, rounding out my top three is All I Need, Around Me, Salem Witch was third. And I will tell you, if I can steal a lyric for my wife's new ringtone, it's from Salem Witch, where it said, she a bad bitch, ass fat, damn she looking good, my girl. So if I can steal that one little clip, I'm going to have that be my wife's new ringtone.
That's I have no issue with that.
Okay.
I actually absolutely love
Yeah, it was
that.
great. So I just wanted you to know, and that's why I appreciated you giving me the extra time because you know, because you become more appreciative of any artist and what they do, the more volume that you get to see, and so I do appreciate that because it did give me the chance to see that, and it was funny because as I'm listening to, I'm like, I went back and I was like, yes, that is that I wrote that down as a note because often my wife will see my notes on my desk. And so I actually wrote that and then I put an arrow and it said my new ringtone for Bobby so that she would know exactly what I was talking about there. But that was a great lyric. Great song. Sorry it was number 3, not number 1, but All I Need was a great song. And Around Me is a great song as well.
Honestly, I feel Around Me personally is my most underrated song. I dropped that back in January, and yeah, it was pretty great.
Do you ever like once you've written a song and you've put it out and it's been viewed, do you ever want to go back and revisit that? Do you ever have second like, oh, if I would have, you know, maybe changed this or done something a little bit different, or maybe even with the video, the companion that went with it, have you ever thought has that ever crossed your mind revisiting project, or once it's done, that is it, that's my final product as an artist, I'll keep promoting that product, but that's how that piece is.
All the time. All the time. The thing is, it's like when you make music, there's going to be certain time periods, especially when you have writer's block, where your own music is going to be the only thing you listen to. And I often go back. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. My SoundCloud is filled with 17-year-old Slasher just trying to find himself in a very awkward way. I really thought I was the third member to Suicide Boys or something.
Uh-huh.
And yeah, it's a I dropped a mixtape back in 2021 called It's Cold Out Here. It's the first body of work. I dropped that when I was 17 years old. And I thought it was the hardest thing on planet Earth when I made it. And then now being a 20-year-old going back and looking at that, I often cringe at 80% of what I'm hearing. But I still love it because that's who I was at that time, and that's me finding myself in the progression of just my upbringing, and my evolution is always going to be my favorite story.
So the more you think about how you've changed as an artist from a 17-year-old to a 20-year-old, does that give you more? Do you start thinking about the future more where maybe you didn't as a 17-year-old? You're just, I'm doing this. And now that you're more reflective, does it give you, have you started thinking more about the future and how, what that roadmap now looks like as opposed to last year or 3 years ago?
Yeah, yeah, I'm often caught thinking about the future all the time. That's why I always tend to stay working. I'm always doing something. Like I hate being bored. I can't be bored. I don't know what to do with myself. I can't take breaks. So, yeah, I mean, I've talked about this like once other time publicly, but that's only just talking about it on my Instagram. So I guess I'll talk about it in verbal form. But December 6th, I dropped my first solo album, 20 Years Dead. Everybody peep that. It's gonna be great. I'm very proud of it. It took me a year and a half to piece together this album, and I always just struggled with the concept. And then after that, I might just dabble in another genre. I really don't know. A lot of plans for 2024, music related and not music related. A lot of stuff in the works, a lot of big moves. Can't wait to share the information when I'm able to. But
Are
yeah,
you
I'm
currently,
often
do you currently perform live?
I I'm gonna be honest. Fun fact: I've never had my first live performance. But the thing is in 2024, homie of mine, shout out Resonate from the 573. Dope producer, dope lyricist, heavyweight in the battle rap scene. If it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have, you know, made the amount of progression that I have in this amount of time. But I plan on going on a small tour next year, and it's gonna be dope. I'm gonna start in Missouri, and we're gonna end in Arizona. And nah, I've never had my first performance yet, and that's just because I've just been so just so uptight and just producing my craft and just the area that I'm in,
You know, and
which
that has to be different than. So I'm 56. So growing up outside of Lawrence, Kansas, there was this place called the Outhouse, and it was. You can find things about it on YouTube. It was like this
yeah,
cinder block hellhole, but some just amazing bands played there. Henry Rollins played there, I believe. I'm trying to even think of who I saw. I can't even think of who I saw there because I've talked about it on the podcast before. But it's weird because back in my day, the bands had to be on the road because there was no social media, there was no YouTube. You know, the only way they were gonna get heard about is being seen by someone, being so good that they go out and tell everyone else to see them next time they're in town. So, and
right,
that's why I asked that because nowadays it doesn't need to be a necessity to be performing in front of a live audience because you're always the performance I don't think is any different because you're performing in front of some type of media now, which back in the day they weren't. I mean, God, when I was growing up, if you had a camcorder, it was the size of like a shoebox. So you know, it just wasn't. There was no media going on back then. So that's why I'd
right,
ask it. And I want to ask real quick about. I believe it was Resonate.
yeah.
So it sounds like they're kind of a mentor. How did you meet Resonate? How did you all hook up? Because it sounds like they've really helped advance your artistry right now.
Yeah, I love Big Homie. He's a dude. So I met him back in 2021, and how I met him is I was visiting Missouri because I have family in Missouri, and I was 17, and at the time, didn't know this was gonna fall into place, but my cousin had this homie. And he was like, "Yo, I know you got this interest in music. I got this other dude who's got an interest in music. You two should link up." So yeah, he introduced me to Resonate, and yeah, we kind of just kicked it off, and so we kind of had a conversation about music, and we kind of seen that we had similar, just,
So are you more
aspirations.
similar like as aspirations because the aspirations could be successful in the music industry but that could be as you a performer and Resonate as a producer. So is were you more complementary to each other like you're real strong at something and maybe Resonate was real strong or was it more like you both your strengths were the same and that's why you got along or was it more that you were complementary?
I mean, our styles of music are polar opposites. I'm more of into like, I'm more into like dark trap, the dark trap subgenre, and he's into like more like, old style, like boom bap, that soulful music. And it's just the fact that we both have really good business mindsets, and we had similar approaches to how we wanted to do things, and we kind of just worked well when it came to that, and that's kind of what created the longevity, my bad, within what we're doing, and we're just we're doing stuff together, and we just kind of learn that 4 feet move faster than two, and then eventually um, I met Gio de well, before I talk about that, Resonate kind of just put me on to recording and everything like that when I never, like, at the time I didn't think it was ever going to happen. So that's kind of how that fell into place. And if it wasn't for him, I wouldn't have had the start that I had at the time. And so if it wasn't for him, I probably wouldn't have had the amount of success that I've had and the amount of time that I've had. So I'm very thankful that I met dude. So shout out, dude. Shout out my homie. But yeah, no, Gio de Menace, I met him a little later on. I actually met him through social media. And it's because I had this song called Wishy Washy that I made back in 2021. And I was looking for somebody to hop on it. And I originally had and one person who was supposed to be on it, but they couldn't pull through due to personal reasons. And then I had another artist lay a verse, and I didn't like it. Another artist laid a verse, even worse. So eventually he commented on one of the promo posts to try to find somebody to hop on it. He was like, bet. And we kind of just we didn't think it was gonna go past that, but we ended up having a conversation and found out he was a funny ass dude, and yeah, we just became homies and just still riding it to this day. And now we're two collaborative albums deep with over 30,000, 40,000 streams combined. He's a very big pillar to my progression up to this point. Him and I have really built a lot together,
That's
and
awesome.
yeah, it's been a dope experience with the come up that I've had. Sorry if
So
I sound a bit shaky.
So I wanted to ask, did you write before getting into music? So it sounds like Resonate helped you decide that recording to do that. So were you writing up to that point? Just because I do that. I mean, I have book upon book of notes that I take for shows, but a lot of them are just random things, and that's how the
Right, yeah.
conversations generally go. So were you did you grow up even younger than just like before you started thinking about music? Did you just write as more cathartic healing
Uh,
process?
yeah, it really because I mean I grew up in the 2010s, so I mean it's a very I fell in love with music at a very young age.
Who is
My
the
older
first art?
brother.
Who's the first artist you remember? Who's the first artist that made an impact?
I'm not gonna lie, might be a kind of typical answer, but I'm not gonna lie, Eminem. Eminem was the first like very huge influential impact when it comes to my like just my discovery for my love for this art.
And who was that?
Eminem.
Oh, Eminem. Yes. So that's one of my wife's favorite. God, I remember. I don't know what it is, but seeing my wife rap at karaoke, rap Eminem, it's. I'm gonna tell you, it's not bad. Not bad at all for me, at least. So, but staying on the topic of writing, have you used AI at all to try to help you with lyrics, or if you've ever had, you mentioned writer's block earlier on, have you ever had writer's block where you thought, hey, I'm gonna ask one of the the open AI sources, have you used it at all for lyrics, or does that scare you, or be like, no, I don't want to start leaning on that?
I I personally have never used AI for assistance to write. I'm not gonna lie, my my remedy to get shit done on a creative level is sativa and caffeine. And the mixture of the both is just the elixir to getting shit done, in my opinion. But
Yeah.
no, I've never used AI to help assist me with lyrics. I'm not gonna lie to you, I have because like I've seen videos on TikTok of people like typing in these type of concepts of like to like chat GBT and shit like that. Like, oh, write me a Drake style song and shit like that. So I'm like, okay, fuck it. I'm gonna see what this looks like. And so I type in, write me a blase blah song, in a darker theme, and I forget exactly what I typed out, but the lyrics were fucking horrible. So it's like I personally, even if I was in that like desperate of a state to get something out of myself, I probably still wouldn't because just it really doesn't give is it's just not as good in my
Right.
opinion. I mean, and like when it comes to AI and everything, I mean we'll get onto that in a minute, but yeah, no, I wrote my first song when I was about 12, 13 years old. And
Did you know it was a song when you were writing it? Or did you just think, I'm putting pen to paper, I'm just getting thoughts out? Or did you actually go, oh, I'm going to sit down, this is going to be a song. Whatever words come out of my head, this is going to be a song.
bro, I'm not gonna lie, this is a funny ass story. This is gonna be the first time I've ever told this story. My very first song is actually a diss track to one of these other little kids that I was in school with. Cause like I had like this crush on this girl, right? And he
Is this the song
just
We Are Not Friends?
No,
Okay,
no,
I've done
that's
some
a whole different
research.
conversation.
Okay, I know we're gonna get to that conversation. So okay, go
Oh,
ahead.
no, no, but I made this horrible. I actually remember burying the piece of paper I wrote it on because I thought it was because like I found it when I was like 15, 16, and I was so embarrassed of it. I actually grabbed a shovel and I buried it. But no, it was a diss track to another little kid in my fucking class because I had this crush on this girl and she likes him and not me, and I was like, fuck, man, I'm in my feelings. I didn't even know what
I
the
would
fuck I
have
was
loved
feeling at the
you
time.
see that you need to go wherever you buried that, you need to go dig that up because that would be something, especially as you're winning a Grammy or something, and you get up at an award show and you go, oh, by the way, here's the first song I ever wrote, and then just lay that down. That would be quite funny. So,
Oh man.
okay, well, okay, we're talking about. I think I cut you off. You were talking about Gio de Menace and how you met him, met them. They had reached out to you for a song that you had that you were having difficulty finding someone to join in with you. So I think I cut you off on that, or had you finished that story?
Nah, my bad. I
Okay.
was stuttering a bit with that. But no, yeah, no, there was a song that I made called Wishy Washy, and I was struggling to find somebody because I originally had another friend of mine who was supposed to hop on it, who wanted to do this rap shit, and I was just trying to give dude an opportunity. So I tried to get him on it, but he couldn't because of personal issues. So I had another random artist hop on that I found on Instagram, and I just didn't like what he put down. I didn't like how it flowed, and so I had another artist try, even fucking worse. And then eventually, this one dude, this one random ass motherfucker named Gio de Menace, just comments on the fucking post of me trying to find somebody, and we just kind of had we didn't think. I mean, him and I both like have admitted to each other like we didn't think it was going to go past like that collaboration, just like him and I's acquaintance with each other. And then we just had a conversation and found out he was just a funny ass fucking dude. And, we just shared the same dark humor and type shit. And yeah, no, we just stayed homies. And yeah,
So
I can't wait to perform with him on tour.
so that sounds all well and dandy because Gio was able to give you the track you needed. How does that go when you have to tell someone no? Like, I mean, are you honest? Like, I just don't think that's the one for me, or did you actually be like, that was shit? I'm sorry. I mean, how do you go back to another artist and tell them? And then is that the same way you would want to be told if it was in the reverse?
Absolutely. I mean, to be honest with you, the way that I approach it, like, and I've told everybody this, everybody that I have like conversated about working with, or that I have worked with, or that I'm going to be working with in the future, I break it down every single time. Like, creative process is something that cannot be rushed, nor like just lackluster. Like, and nah, if I don't mess with something, then I mean, I'm gonna be blunt about it. Like, if it's just slightly off, then yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna just go out like go all out to be a fucking dick to somebody and be like, nah, like this shit's absolute fucking garbage. But like, I'm gonna say like, nah, man, this ain't the vibe. You think you can like kind of redo it and like come with like kind of go harder with this, or like maybe make this sound, maybe this make this punch more, or like something like that. And then if they can, then great. And if they can't, then it is what it is. I say, well, all right, well, if there's another track that I can maybe find that'll suit your vibe in the future, I'll let you know.
That's
And I've
awesome.
gotten, and yeah, that's exactly how I'd want to be told as well. Because I mean, I've told people continuously, like, if I lay something that you don't fuck with, because if I'm collaborating with somebody, if it's their track, it's their track. If it's the creative direction is about who is like the primary artist, so it's like if it's their song, I'm gonna respect their image, and if it's not what they want, then I would want them to say that because I want the song to do the best that it can be and be the best that it can be in its final product. Because yeah, I really feel like that matters. Quality over quantity is a philosophy that I often live by when it comes to just everything with this.
So as you grow as an artist, does that allow you to be more not selective, but do you have more people to choose from, or more people reaching out to you, or are you getting put in touch with more people as you grow as an artist where maybe your style or theme is now kind of more not in stone, but it's kind of more apparent. And so it becomes an easier match or an easier mate to find out there's someone to pair you with. So as you grow as an artist, do you think that's going to be easier for you to find collaborators?
Um, I've been thinking about this a lot actually. I'm glad you asked this question, but personally, no. With the style of artist that I am, no. I don't think it's not. It hasn't gotten any easier, nor do I think it's really gonna get any easier because I just, I mean, if you look at my catalog, when it comes to people that I've literally have just made songs with, the two people that I've mentioned before.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like I literally just make music with my homies because they're the only people that I've found that I fuck with and that I respect on a on an equal level to the point where it's like, this dude, I could like making a team with these people. This is the best. This is something great. Like, if it's someone that I recognize as like I don't know, it's just game recognizes game type shit.
Right.
So yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's not easy for me to find people to collaborate with because like I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm often with the people that I'm approached by. I mean, there's some of them that are okay, and like in my opinion, and I'm not trying to put myself on any pedestal or like trying to stroke any kind of ego or like say that I'm better than anyone. It's just I have a very unique direction with this, I feel like, and not a lot of people can see the energy for what it is, and then I have to often hinder how far and how in depth my creativity goes because I'm often met with a lot of people with a lot of the same styles, and I can't exactly. It's just very hard. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it in a really simplistic way. It's just very hard because the style of artist I am is it's just never easy because it's always. I don't know. I'm often just met with a lot of kids who slap a shit ton of autotune on their fucking vocals, and then and nah, man, it's just
That that
it never really works out.
that's one thing. So I used to be in the photography field, and that was one thing that as AI started coming and people could much more easily adjust their photographs. I'm sure as an artist, you had mentioned auto tune. I'm sure that has to be just something that drives you crazy. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, well, it's like
when an
every
artist, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying that when you lean on that, that's when it gets a little excessive to me.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Like everybody likes to oversaturate as if that's gonna fix the fact that you
Right.
have no talent. I'm gonna be blunt about it. Like
Yeah.
a lot of kids out there. And if this is what you want to do, I'm never gonna shame a kid for wanting to like do this music shit. 'Cause I'm gonna be honest with you, anybody can be a rapper. Anybody. This is the easiest genre to get into. It's just all about how you approach it and how you market yourself. And once you got that on lock, and you know for a fact you have a unique and original image, and I mean a lot of times people don't even have to do that because you just see a whole lot of carbon copies of the same style fucking bullshit. So I'm saying like a lot of these kids that I get approached by are either Travis Scott wannabes or Juice WRLD wannabes, and I can't exactly, I just can't get down with a lot of people that I'm approached by. I mean, there's a rare few that are decent and everything. It's just I mean, I don't know. A lot of them are just kids who are just posting on YouTube and SoundCloud, and they have no idea what the fuck a distribution platform is, and or publishing or any shit like that, or any kind of networking. That type shit. Their
You
approach
know,
to
and
that is just.
I didn't think about that until you mentioned it because I was thinking of all the positives of being able to literally have your phone in your hand, and if you wanted to go live and record something to YouTube, you could. So I was
Hmm.
thinking more of the positives, but you did mention the negatives, that there are a lot of people that don't know what the fuck they're doing out there.
No,
And so
yeah.
they're causing congestion out there. So the real artists that are trying to focus on this are kind of getting not drowned out in the weeds, but to a certain extent hindered by the people that don't know what they're doing, and flooding and taking away the focus on the real artist.
Yeah, because ignorance is a trend. Like the same ignorant approach to a lot of the same fucking bullshit that you see nowadays. It's just rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. And then eventually they just write it out till it becomes oversaturated, and then they're back humiliating themselves on, the internet and shit. Like that's what you see a lot in the mainstream nowadays, at least.
Right.
Like you see a lot of these artists who like, yeah, they were popping back in like 2017 and shit like that, but now that all that shit's just done and gone, and they now realize there's no longevity to their fucking career. Then now they're going back to doing stupid shit on the fucking internet, hanging around with YouTubers and streamers for fucking clout and all that fucking dumb shit. And yeah, nah, it's wild, but that's why
Well, let me ask you this real quick. So you've talked about the people that have approached you that have wanted to work with you and collaborate with you.
yeah.
Who is there someone that you have yet to collaborate with that you would like to, that maybe you, for whatever reason, you just haven't crossed paths yet? Is there someone locally or in your region that you really want to work with that you haven't had the opportunity to at this point?
I'm not gonna lie, the only other Oklahoma artist that I actually like, and this is a pretty crazy story because this kid found me on Instagram and then he DM'd me, was like, "Hey yo, 918 gang," but this kid 918 Boys. He's 16 years old, doing phenomenal things for, his music career when it comes to, building who he is as an artist and shit. And doing things I wish I was doing when I was 16 years old. He's got a good start ahead of him. He's got a good start on his hands. He's got a good head on his shoulders, and I really believe in kid. But he's the only other artist that's in this state. I'm gonna keep it real, bro. Like it's the only other artist in the state I actually mess with. Everybody else that I see and that I like that I've seen in articles, like when you have to like go out of your way to look up the top 10 Oklahoma rappers, and you've never heard of a single fucking one of them. You know what I mean? And every other one of them is just, it's the same. They don't have anything unique about them, and
So
I
is it a
just
lack of talent I mean, because quite honestly, I was like, I have never heard of a rapper from Oklahoma before.
that's
And
what I'm talking about. That's
yeah,
what I'm talking
and
about
so
to
I
you.
mean, and so is it because there's excuse me, a lack of talent for the other, I don't artists may not be the correct word, but the other rappers out there? Is there a lack of drive, or is it just a lack of atmosphere in Oklahoma? What do you think is driving the lack of other uh, good rappers in the state of Oklahoma?
See, the thing is, like, there's actually dudes out there with potential. Like, when I was still working a day job, I was like, I was in orientation one day with this one dude, and I'm not gonna shout out his name because just how we lost contact was kind of just ridiculous. But I met I met this one dude, and he had like, music's what he wanted to do. He was a rapper, all that. He had bars, he was all for it, and he was just, like when we met, like he was glad to finally, because like you really rarely ever meet anyone around here, and the reason why, to answer your question, really, it's the lack of resource. And the reason why there's a lack of resource is because the music industry is so, it's not as industrialized here because Oklahoma is not known for hip hop in any fucking way. And that's why, especially with, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you, like, I'm gonna put it this way: when it comes to originality, you look up 918 Slasher on Spotify, I'm the only one with my fucking name.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like I really feel like I'm doing shit that no one. I really feel like I'm doing shit for the state, music wise, and like not even music wise. That's still related to my brand's name and shit like that. Like I'm doing. I feel like I'm doing more for the state than, to be honest, any other Oklahoma rapper. And
Well,
and
let me ask you this. So I'd asked the question earlier whether you would notice a change from 17 to 20 and whether
yeah.
you were thinking about the short term like I was thinking like 23. Have you ever thought about like more long term about being like a music event, like promoting rap in the state of Oklahoma, like trying to be on that side, not just a performer and an artist, but also someone that tries to bring the community to actually, it sounds like the community needs to be formed, that it's not even really fully formed there. So have you ever thought about that, or have you ever even entertained like, yeah, I'd think about that, but that's going to be after my career or later on down the line? Have you ever thought about something like that?
Nah, it's all in the process. Like putting Oklahoma on the map is why I was born. Like I'm not like this, I love where I'm from. Like I used to be ashamed of it. I'm not gonna lie. Like Oklahoma, like it wasn't even the state. The state is beautiful. The state will make you really, find, just you will find yourself and your inner peace, and you will find like the questions that need answered in the airs here. It's amazing. I fall in love with my home. Like putting the state on the map and making like honestly like leaving my footprints on the ground, and those footprints having a domino effect of influence and just different thing like just yeah man, nah, it's all in the process.
An
Putting
impact. Yeah.
yeah, leaving an impact. Yeah, sorry, yeah, exactly. Yeah, leaving an impact is exactly what I want to do for the state, and leaving like causing the state to leave more of an impact as time passes is exactly why I feel like I was born. It's exactly why I'm doing this for, as well as I mean me personally, music helped me find myself as a person, man. Like music influenced me in a way that music has saved me from, I mean it might be a little dark, but like music has saved me from suicide. Like this shit has like layers of different things that bleed within my personal roots of what makes me an individualist.
Well, and
And
I
yeah,
think
nah,
earlier when you were talking about the creativity part of it, because I feel that on my side, there are nights where so we're recording this in the evening. I will
right,
probably not go to sleep tonight because I have two interviews tomorrow that I actually have extensive notes for, but I just, it's something that drives me. It's not something I can turn off because it's and I think you had mentioned that earlier as part of that creativity part, that it's a drive, and people don't understand that. And like my wife doesn't really, it's not that she sees what I do and it's just different than what I do in the rest of my life, because
right.
this part of this creativity is driven in me in a different way, and it sounds very similar in you, that this part of your life is just driven totally by the creativity.
Absolutely, yeah, because I mean, I'm a high school dropout. Like, fun fact, I dropped out of 10th grade. Like, I just kind of, I saw bigger visions, and and it kind of, yeah, and you're right, nobody does understand it, and you lose a lot of people because of it. You
Yeah.
sacrifice a lot.
And
You
here's the
sacrifice so
thing that
much.
in while I'm not congratulating you on dropping out of high school, I will congratulate you on identifying what you know, or what you knew you wanted to do. So one of my very first interviews that I ever did, actually on a different show that I did, was a high school classmate of mine who ended up going to New York City to go to theater school, has their plays. They've written multiple plays that are shown around the world, like, 20 different cities showing each one of these. It's just ridiculous how busy. But they knew in high school, and they had said on the interview that, and the reason I bring this up, because I think they would have dropped out if their parents would have let them and they didn't have to go to college to go to theater school. But they said they didn't care about school. They did not care about high school. The only thing they cared about was theater. And as long as they did well in theater, because you try out, I guess, for NYU theater school, that was the only thing that mattered. So, I mean, at least I skipped a lot of my high school. As an athlete, a lot of times they look the other direction. I didn't get detention, or I didn't really get in trouble for skipping stuff as long as I was continuing to get passing grades. And that's one thing that my parents never understood. They just thought I was getting away from school because I didn't like school. But I was
Right.
learning other things. I was learning other life skills, how to evade authority, how to con a friend, because I didn't have my own car in high school. So I always had to con a friend when I'm skipping school to give me their car. While they stayed in school, they needed. So I was learning all these other life skills. So I commend you for at such a young age, at least identifying what your passion was and what you see your future. Because I'm a big believer in efficiency, and wasting time is not efficiency. And
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
So unless they come up and they're like, oh man, we really want to give you this Grammy for Best New Artist, but sorry, you didn't finish high school.
Right. Right.
I don't think
Yeah.
that's gonna happen though.
Right.
They're
And
not gonna
like,
bring that up to you. Um, so I want to change. Hold on, I got a sound for this. I want to change gears real quick because I had mentioned the song, because you had mentioned the song you had written, your first I forget what you termed the song, but the first song that you wrote. But then, so I asked if the song was "We Are Not Friends," and you laughed. Can you talk? Do
no,
you? I don't know. This is all I have written down, just so you know. And I told you before we started, if there's anything you don't want to talk about, you can always say so. But this is what I wrote down. I wrote, so for some reason, from number one up next to All I Need, I drew an arrow down to the bottom. It says, We Are Not Friends. And I put good lyric video under We Are Not Friends. So hold on, I got something for that. Okay, but then I wrote, what is currently going on with Twiggy?
oh boy.
oh, I didn't think it would be. I was hoping it would be something, but that's all I know. So you can focus on the good part where I said that We Are Not Friends is a good lyric video, or you can answer the question posed to you, which is, what the fuck's going on with Twiggy? Or hold on, who
Um,
can we ask who Twiggy is first? Can you is that something you can? Is it another artist? Is it as an ex, or is it someone you've never met? Can we even ask who Twiggy is?
Twiggy is wow. I did not think you were gonna bring this dude up.
And like I said, you can always, no one, if you hit pass, I don't give a shit. My audience, here's the thing. Who gives a shit what anyone else thinks? If you don't want to talk about it, you do not have to talk about it. It was, for whatever reason, when I was going through your catalog and listening to your videos, it at least impacted me enough that I wrote down that I did like the video, but I did want to at least ask you the question. So I can't even tell you right now. I can't recall the video or what led me to this, but while I was watching it, and I'm sure I was high, while I was watching it, I at least wrote down that note.
Yeah, so this dude, right? Um, so he was originally, it's just it's a whole beef that's been going on for, I'd say like a year now.
So let me ask you,
And
on a beef, when you say a beef, what is that, just like social media back and forth? Or is that like if you see each other at the mall, you guys just glare at each other? Or is that like, so what is how are you describing beef in this instance?
at first, when it came to me and him, because he originally had conflict with my homie Resonate, and it was really just his thing. And I kept it professional. I defended my homie just because like I always defend my clan. And so I hopped in, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I did throw the first punch when it comes to everything between him and I, but I did keep it professional, and it was just kind of a hip hop thing. And then the dude, she just made it really personal, and then everything just kind of took a left turn, and yeah, and he just he built his whole image around being in this clique that it was called NFG. It is called NFG. It's a real clique actually. But this dude fronted that he was in this group and that he was affiliated with this group and that eventually just, claimed a lot of things that I'm not gonna exactly mention, but it just got really personal and eventually he just really thought I wouldn't hit up dude like a grown ass man and ask him about the situation
I
because
like that term, grown ass man. Go ahead.
yeah, and eventually he just said he had no idea who the fuck Twiggy was. So he's been biting this whole entire clique's name, his whole career. He put his homie on to a complete fraudulent fucking scheme for fucking thinking that his whole like image portrayal is just like gonna ease his way in there, I guess. I don't know, but yeah, he just started making a lot of threats and it got really personal and yeah, it's kind of sunk deep. But nah, I kind of exposed him for all of his fraudulence, him stealing songs, him fucking stealing features, him stealing verses, him dead ass like and plus like I mean, look at his numbers. Hey, I mean he sticks to YouTube, not even doesn't even breach 50 views. I'm over here with we all know who won. Everybody knows who won. He knows I won. He just lives in fucking denial and it's fine. If he wants to, I offered him to box on Street Beefs because I want to box on Street Beefs. It's something I want to do next year that's not music related. And
Oh, that's a
I
whole other episode then.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But yeah, no, I challenged him to a boxing match and he blocked me, and then just resorted to continue saying that he was gonna do very violent and not nice things to me in his fucking songs. And yeah, no, and yeah, he's just kind of an internet thug that kind of took on this persona and bit off more than he could chew when he picked the wrong fight, and
Do you
it's
feel
just kind of like, yeah,
are you glad? I mean, not glad, that's not the right word, but was your response, however that was, like if something like this happens in the future? Because I know with artists, especially as you're up and coming, as you're trying to climb that ladder, there's only so much room for someone to break through, and so you
hmm
can't while you're not cheering for someone else necessarily to fail, you may not be cheering for them to succeed also. So do you feel
yeah,
like you
yeah.
you need to engage kind of in that to make sure that you keep your position? Because I understand that. I mean, sometimes like when you're in a group, people will try to test your authority or whatever the case may be, and you do have to respond sometimes, and sometimes you ignore. So do you think that this was appropriate, and do you think that you may have learned how to do things either the same way or differently in the future?
Well, this dude, this dude can put out like 3 albums worth of songs and barely breach like 1,000 fucking views for the whole project combined. And then he has released dead ass, like not even including songs with just subliminal disses against me and my friends, but like literally just straight out like him name dropping me. I can literally count. I guarantee you, I can pull if I scroll down his catalog, I can pull at least 10 songs that he uses my name to fucking like. He just uses my name for clout. He just milks that shit. He
Yeah.
milks the fact that because like when we first battled and we first got into it, I was a lot smaller than what I was because I've had a lot of growth. I've been blessed to see a lot of growth, at a very, small time, period and shit like that. So it's like he's just I really feel like he's just in denial and he just can't accept the fact that his career, what little one that he had, is just kind of ruined because his whole image is fucked. And he knows for a fact that I'm doing a lot more shit than him. And it's just one of the I literally told him, I was like, bro, you're like the little sibling that can't accept the fact that he loses and throws a hissy fit to the point he makes the parents fucking make everyone let him win. Like that's literally just the dude he is.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, yeah, sometimes you do like sorry, I kind of got off track, but to answer your question, yeah, sometimes you really do have to respond just like I mean, it's one of those things where
I
Yeah, I
get
mean, it's
it.
kind of just,
And I
yeah,
talk
you kind of
about,
have to, yeah.
and you do. I mean, because if you don't respond, then you're also placing yourself in a point of hierarchy as well. And there
Yeah,
could be
also like
outside, yeah, there could
this
be
genre
other
was kind of
people
like, this
like,
genre was,
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
no, no, man, I'm so sorry. But like, nah, this genre was, like I said earlier, I grew up in the 2010s. So it's like, I grew up on, it was a very weird upbringing. Not a lot of people had the same like upbringing when it comes to like discovery of music and everything. But I started with Eminem, really sunk with like everybody affiliated with Eminem. So I really learned who Slaughterhouse was and all like those undergrounds, really lyrical uh artists and all that. And then I eventually like around 2016, like around 2016, 2017, I started like it kind of shifted into more like modern like dark trap and like just trap music and shit. And I started getting into like Suicide Boys, Night Lavelle, Bones, just all of them and shit like that. And yeah, so like so coming from the fact that like that's where I started, and like naturally a lot of them artists like are known for they're like dissing and like getting into battles and shit like that. It's just modernized and it's just a part of the game. And like that's what this genre was built on. I mean, it started in the Bronx. And yeah, no, like battle rap was just one of the things that kind of just pillared this whole genre in a whole. So yeah, I mean, I feel like, I mean, it's kind of lost in translation over the years, to be honest with you. I feel like not a lot of people really show enough appreciation to that factor because, like, especially when you're coming from, especially when you're stuck in a position like I am, you know what I mean? Or because like artists from like New York, they have no fucking chance of like being the king of their state because, or like even considering owning that title because it's already owned by so many fucking actual iconic names that's done more streams that a lot of them will probably never fucking see combined. You know what I mean? Like you
Right.
got people like Nas, you got people like Jay-Z, you got people like Pop Smoke. You got all these names who's claimed this title. Like you're like it's just eventually, so like when you're stuck in a position like me, like it's very cutthroat. Everything's very fucking cutthroat. You have to fight for your position. Nobody's nice. Like none of these Oklahoma artists, like they're not. I'm not gonna lie to you, bro. Like out of everyone you could have probably interviewed, I'm probably the most humble one. Like everybody is just egotistical as absolute fuck. They think they're something they're not. And nah, man.
and,
Yeah.
and
So
and that's the biggest problem that and I haven't followed. In fact, there's no one else that popped up like you said when I put in 918. I mean, it immediately started going to your content that I would see on YouTube, but I was noticing that with some of the content that you make, it sets you apart. I mean, I was able to see if you were egotistical, you have the information to back it up. I always say that because as having a genius level IQ and being in, I say that the first guest I've ever had that ever hung up on me at one point tried to say that they had an IQ a little higher than mine, which I don't have a problem with. I
well,
have a child whose IQ is higher than mine. But they just said, I believe they said, you don't think I'm smarter than you. I go, no, I don't see it. And I go, all you have to do is join one of the high IQ societies I belong to, or join any other one, and I'll join that one with you. And I go, then we can have the discussion in there. And they got mad and they hung up on me because, but I was saying, you can prove, so you have, if you go to your catalog, you can prove, you can say, I am great. Here, have you seen the video for All I Need? That is a great video. It is a great song. The No Feelings 2 with Gio de Menace. That's a great song. You have a catalog that you can point to, and it sounds like other people, and we won't name Twiggy's names. I'm sorry, we won't name names, but they don't have that to go, because that's what I always say. Because some people are like, "Oh, you think you're pretty great," and I'm like, "Yeah." And the funny thing is, no one ever says, well, you're not great. Like, oh, you're at 6'5", you're too tall. Like, that's a bad, what? But they don't even try. They just want to say, oh, you're not this, without any proof. And you have that proof. You have the catalog. And I'll tell you, I've said at the beginning, I said in the middle, I'm saying it again now, that I very much appreciate the time you gave me, the extra time you gave me before we talked, so that I could go at and research more of your catalog. Because like I said, I have a new ringtone for my wife, and it's been a long time since I've had a new ringtone for my wife. So that's great.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck
Hey,
yeah,
I
yeah.
want to ask, I wrote this note down because I was going to kind of change the subject when we are talking about something else, but you had mentioned albums a couple times. How does that come together? Like, I've never even really thought of this. And I have one of the people in the International High IQ Society in the UK, Harry Bodley Scott. He is a singer and an artist. And we had talked about music at length when he was on the program, but I never even asked, how do you create an album? Like, do you write certain songs and go, oh, well, these would be separate, I wouldn't put these on the same album? Or is it like, well, the next 12 songs, that's an album, then the next 12 after that, like, how's an album actually created?
You never really okay, so like my process personally, I can't speak for all artists, but my process personally, I never really, because I always struggle. Like I said, it took me a year and a half to successfully piece together a body of work where I look at that and I'm like, that's a 918 Slasher album right there.
Right.
Um,
So
it's kind of just,
you knew when you got to that point that you had enough material. At that time, it was there was that point where you go, I'm done. That's an album.
yeah, I
Okay.
mean, yeah, all, I mean, originally, I mean, eventually you come up with the concept. I mean, for me, I come up with the concept as I go. Like, if I'm on a streak, if I'm on a creative like outburst, and my ADHD just has me all over the place, and I'm doing a million things at once, and eventually I have like 6 songs. I'm like, okay, this is an EP's worth, but like, this is a good, good handful. I bet I can make a fucking album out of this. Like, this is dope as shit. Like, I always, what you hear on my album, like the album that's coming out or any collaborative project that I make with anybody else, it's always going to be what I feel like is my best material in the moment. And often that changes, which leads me to either like shifting the track list around, and then eventually I just get so fucking irritated with it, or I just lose interest, or like I'm an ADHD kid, so it's like eventually I'll just like drop it randomly and just do something else, and then I'll just forget about it. Um, but yeah, I mean, there'll be sometimes, bro, I'm not gonna lie, like I'll be having like, 2, 3 album concepts at once and shit like that. And this is what makes it so hard to like, just make a complete solo body of work, is just sometimes you just have so many ideas that you want to do at once.
Right.
And then you get so dissatisfied with, the lack of the ability to do that. And then yeah, you kind of just lose interest. But with this one, I kind of wrote it through. And yeah, no, I originally, once I got to a certain amount of tracks, that's when I started saying, okay, if I added this, this amount of tracks more, then that's a good decent size project and shit like that. And then eventually I'll get those tracks in, and then I'll categorize them to what I feel like is the best creativity, like creatively, like when it comes to like transitions to the next song, the vibe, shit like that. Because like I don't want it to sound like a mixtape. So
Yeah,
yeah,
and that's, as you're speaking, that's what I was thinking of myself, is that creatively, I understand that. There'll be times where I'll be working on multiple shows. Sometimes it'll be multiple guests and I'll be bouncing back and forth. I'll think of questions for one, it'll make me think. So I'll be, which is kind of like smaller than an album, but you're bouncing back and forth between ideas, because even though some people may think, and I'll do that even if it's solo shows, because I'll find that I want the material. When I take pictures and post them on Instagram, a lot of times they're color coded, and it's because those ideas go together. And that's to remind me. But on a different page, even though they use the same colors, they were moved to a
yeah,
different page because they did not go with. So I do understand that, where you could have
yeah,
multiple album concepts going. And the weird thing is that all the creative people that listen to this program are nodding their head, yes, they know exactly what you mean, because that's just how we process. And the people that don't think that way, they may look at that, they may look at 2 lists that you've made, and they may not see the differences in there, but for you, it's a stark and contrast different that you actually see 2 different albums, whereas they may just see, oh, like me, because I would see that. I wouldn't know how to tie songs together like you do to separate those album concepts.
Yeah, it's a bitch of a process sometimes. I'm not gonna lie. And you get very frustrated with yourself, and sometimes, I mean, dude, my work ethic is very disciplined. So like, I mean, I lose a lot of sleep over this music shit, and yeah, it's a bitch of a process sometimes. But you know,
Do you have to set hours during the day? Like, I'm going to write from not, or I'm going to sit and hopefully I'll be writing, but I'm going to allot this time, because I find that, especially doing this by myself, is that if I have guests, it's much easier because I have an exact time that I know I need to call them, get in contact with them, and go from there. If I don't focus that time, energy, and I'm just like, I got to do a solo show before Monday. Well, I could do that tonight. I could do it Sunday afternoon. I could do it first thing Monday morning. I mean, so do you find yourself having to actually focus a set amount of time each day to work on your craft?
yeah, I kind of in a similar position. If it's already if I already have shit in my schedule, yeah, because then I'll evaluate, what time I can utilize for what, and then eventually, I'll go about it the best that I can. But if I'm doing fuck all, then it's really just whenever it comes about, and that's the days where I get the best out of me, because for me, like my best material comes out in like the spur of the moment type shit. Like when it's always like when you're in the middle of doing nothing, or like, I mean, for me, often it'll just be, once I roll up a blunt and I'm just listening to beats, because I'll just be doing that sometimes with vibes. Sometimes I don't even be listening to beats to fucking, try and find something to write to. I just be listening to them just for fuck it.
Right.
And I mean, a lot of the times I just, it's just, oh shit, like I can flow to this, or oh shit, like, I can think of a few bars or be a dope ass hook, or that's just really how it comes about. And that's just yeah, that's just always been how I roll with things.
And
And
I think
and
the word that comes to mind when you say that is uninspiration. It's almost like not doing anything, not focusing yourself. Because I always joke that my best shows are in the shower. I mean, I laugh hysterically. I mean, I usually smoke before I get in the shower, but I will be thinking of ideas in the shower for the show, and I am just laughing hysterically. Now, half the time I can't remember them, and the other half they're not as funny when I actually get pen to paper. But I always say that sometimes when you least expect to be inspired, that's when you're like, shit, I need to write this down.
yeah, yeah, I guess yeah. Yeah, for real. It's always a spur of the moment type shits, and that's just always that's when in my opinion, that's just when you get the best out of yourself creatively, because that's like an organic thought that you didn't need time to manifest to perfect the image. It just came out perfect. I mean, on the first try, and it's just yeah. In
Right.
my opinion, yeah, that's the best way to that's the best case scenario to have the best final product. And yeah.
Now, do you like going to do you go to concerts? Are you a concert goer?
Uh, not often. Not often. I've seen
What is the
NF.
best, no matter what genre, no matter what is the best concert you've ever attended?
Um,
And why? What made it? Because it doesn't always have to be about the music. And I'll go first because it may give you a second to think, because you may have a couple of thoughts. So we went and it was right after our, I don't know, 20 something 23rd, I don't know, 20 something anniversary is within a couple days of that. Actually, it may have been on the day of our anniversary. We went
yeah.
to Lawrence, Kansas, to this little theater called the Granada to see the Struts. And it was cool. I liked the band. Bobby was familiar somewhat with the music just from me listening to it, and they're a British, I don't know, glam rock band. I don't know what you'd call them. And so when we actually got to Granada, whoever their opening band was playing, and when they went to when they got done, she goes, "Oh man, is the concert already over?" I go, "Did you think that was the Struts?" And it was funny, but the thing that made it so interesting is that it wasn't the best music. It was a very fun concert, but the venue was small, but there weren't a lot of people, so you spread out. And to me, the most iconic thing was 2 weeks later, they had the very final Victoria's Secret fashion show ever televised on TV. And the group that played the finale was the Struts. So we saw them, and then 2 weeks later, they were in New York City playing what ended up being the very finale. And so it just all tied in. It was around our honeymoon. So to me, that was just the most fun. I mean, if someone mentions concert, there's a lot I think of, but that's the one concert. And if you ask my wife, it would be a Tim McGraw concert she went to without me, and because she was like second row and got to touch his hand like 6 times. So so totally different reasons. So can you think of any concert that you just had fun at or really made an impact on your life?
Uh, saw Suicide Boys a couple years ago, and the whole energy of everything, it was just lit. I mean, the whole fan base they're just fucking insane. And the boys themselves are just the great ass performers, but like on a soulful impact level, probably NF. I don't remember the year. It was further back than that, but yeah, everything about it was just a great experience and just yeah, yeah.
I
I
mean,
don't really go to concerts that often though.
and that's what's cool. I mean, and then I kept thinking about as we're talking, because then I was like, I wonder what I'm sure that our oldest, she is very country, so I'm sure it'd be one of the many country concerts that she's been to. But our youngest, uh, they went to, or I guess I went with them. We went to see Machine Gun Kelly here in Kansas City. And to
Oh
me,
wow.
that also sticks out because, as a dad, I'm going with my I guess they were 19, maybe 20 at the time, 20-year-old child. And it was cool that they would even go with me, and then it was a good time. So I take that back. That no, I'm going to stick with the Struts, but a close second is Machine Gun Kelly. So,
Got you, got you.
okay, let me ask you this. Who is the artist that you listen to on a fairly regular basis that everyone like this is like something maybe secret or maybe just not even secret, not that you don't want people to know, they just don't know.
Yeah.
Who would that artist be that you listen to on a regular basis that most people wouldn't know about?
Oh boy. Let's see, it's one of those questions is like it's tough to answer because there's so fucking many. Because I'm like really big into like the underground like dark trap scene. So um Machiavelli God is one of them. He's I'm pretty sure I think he's from Florida. I don't know. Um but he's well affiliated with the promotional brand Trash Gang, which their whole catalog of artists that they promote are really fucking dope. Um, that's one of them. That's who I've been stuck on for a while. Machiavelli
Let
God,
me
and
ask you this real quick because you've mentioned before because you had mentioned you weren't sure they may be from Florida and you were talking about the scene in Oklahoma before. If you could go somewhere to hone your craft, a city, a state, a country, I don't know. If there was somewhere that you could go and as an artist you would grow exponentially, is there a place or do you want to do that in Oklahoma?
man, I'm gonna always Oklahoma will forever be my home. Like I'm always gonna center myself in
Okay, so
the center of my right
now
here.
you can't say Oklahoma. So now you've just been kicked out of the state of Oklahoma. I'm sorry
Okay.
about that. So you've been kicked out of the state of Oklahoma.
Oh fuck.
Where does 918 Slasher? Where do you go to hone your craft? Is there somewhere that's a market where you're just like, that is unbelievable? That because you're saying that there's no talent, there's not talent coming out of Oklahoma. So is there a city or region where talent is just like one after the other that you're just like, man, that what's going on down there or up
I'd
there?
say tech. I'd say Texas. Houston
Texas,
rappers do it different, bro.
they
Yeah,
do.
Texas
Okay.
rappers do it different.
And
Like for real,
what do you
for
think
real.
that? Do you think that that has to do with a lot of Texans and my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and niece and nephew? They're all Texans. So, but they it's kind of a different. It's a different swag. So, do you think it's a different confidence that they just start from a different place, or do you think it's it has to do with something in the where they grew up, what they were taught in school, what they weren't taught in school. What do you think may be the cause of that Texas bravado?
Well, I mean, it either be Texas or Tennessee, just because Memphis is known for a lot of shit when it comes to music. But yeah, Texas primarily, just because like I feel like the artists, the artists that coming up there, like, I mean, I just feel like their artistic approach is kind of like similar to, like how they stand out as individualists and how they make their image and like what they're really doing it right, in my opinion. And I just feel like the market is really great down there. I feel like it appeals to a lot of people, and it's just yeah. It's Houston rappers just do it different. Like the whole state. Like if I wouldn't. I don't know. I probably wouldn't fuck with anybody from Texas probably before I wouldn't fuck with anybody from like almost anywhere else, I'd say. So like yeah, I'd say Texas just because they
Okay,
do it different down there.
that's awesome. Okay, so what is next for you? What is on 918 Slasher's schedule, your calendar? It's getting ready to pop up. What are the next few things that you have? Are you working on an album? Are you working on a certain song? Is there a new lyric video about to drop? What's next for you?
Yeah, and new album dropping December 6th. That's what I can't wait to get that the fuck out so I can move the fuck on from it. And yeah, that's kind
Does that
of
feel good? I
and
mean,
that
is that does that feel good, like closure? Because I don't think some people. So my uncle Paul is an artist, and my
yeah.
mom has always said, she goes, he never finishes anything because he'll do like all this artwork and get down to the very end, and before he finishes he moves on to something else, and it always drove my mom crazy. And I told her one time, and this is just me processing from my eye at my level, is that I go, I don't think Uncle Paul, I think that if he finished it, then it's like a closure. And as long as
Yeah.
he doesn't finish that piece of art, it's always something that's still moving in him, it's still stirring him. But once he closes it, but it struck me because you sounded like you wanted, I want this album done. I want to move on to the next thing. So you're ready for this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure because like I'm always I'm always in this predicament where it's like, like I release something like every release besides this last one I didn't expect it to do as successful as it did. It was kind of just one of those songs to get out there just to put something out just for the consistency. And I didn't expect it to do as well as it did, but it did wild. But
Was that, are we
yeah,
talking
like
about All I Need?
no,
Oh, okay.
Dangerously Soulless was released 4 days ago as a
Okay.
single, and
Okay.
y- then before that was Salem Witch. Then before that was All I Need. And that's been the recent releases. But yeah, I didn't expect the most recent one to do as successful as it did, but it really went wild. And then, but before that, like it was just, I was stuck in this predicament where it's like everything that I make, I feel like is better than the previous. So it's like I'm having to promo this when I'm like I'm so excited for this and shit like that. So I'm always stuck in that. So because of that reason, I can't really. I'm really excited to get this body of work out so I can really progress to like the next stage and just like the next step of like my artistry and just like just getting new shit out, just really evolving and showing the evolution. That's just what I'm excited for most. So, because I got big ideas, man. I got really big ideas for just the type of shit I want to make in the future. Not gonna speak too much on it because I haven't built as much confidence as I need to really, like just put it out there like that. But I have really big things that I want to do experimental wise when it comes to this shit and my versatility. And versatility, I feel like, is the key factor to being like successful, especially as a rapper, because like covering multiple different sounds is always the better fucking route than just sticking to one image, just sticking to one sound, shit like that, blah blah blah. Like, with the release of All I Need and then the release of Salem Witch, it really shows like the versatility that I can do, because like the song All I Need was really emotional, personal, and shit like that. And then Salem Witch, who was literally dropped 2 weeks after that, polar opposite.
Right.
She a bad bitch, ass fat, like like I'm talking about like all this different like all this like dark ass shit. When just 2 weeks ago I was on this,
Or as I like to
this
call it, the
emotional shit.
perfect ringtone. That's what I like to call Salem Witch. So
It goes hard. It goes
yes,
hard. I can't lie.
yeah. Okay, so once you get this done and you're getting ready to move on, have you ever thought about it? I'm going to ask you this because if you say no and it changes, because I'm sure at some point Eminem said, "I'm never going to be an actor." Do you ever think about something? Is there anything else creatively tugging at you, like acting or painting or sculpting? Do you ever see yourself doing something creatively that is not rapping and maybe producing as well? Because I know
Absolutely.
that takes something totally different than being on the different side of the mic. What would that be?
I don't have the patience for producing. There's too many I can't do that, man. Shout out Resonate. He's a dope ass producer. He's on his shit. That shit just has too many complexities for me to be able to fucking nah, bro. I'd rather just pay someone to do that for me. But
Yes.
yeah, nah, but like film writing and acting, yeah, is two big ones. Yeah, I want to make horror movies as my name as I'm able to, kind of progress onto that. I'm actually I'm talking with a few people, and I'm trying to make some things happen with some business partners of mine that has some connects, and that's trying to. I'm not gonna speak on too much of his business, but like, sure. The point is, I want to be able to put out a short film within the next year or two. Um, I want to be able to start making it within the next year or two. My bad. But
Have you already written it or the concept, or have you already thought about the I mean, not just it sounds like you probably already have the idea or the story together.
Yeah, I have a concept. I have a concept in mind, but I haven't gotten too far into the idea just because I'm still trying to. I'm new to this whole entire writing shit. So on this like spectrum of creativity, so it's like I'm kind of still like figuring out my footstep, like figuring out where I'm supposed to step my feet and shit. So yeah, I'm
Well, once
once
again, because
but
I don't
yeah.
think people that write understand that. Because what I write note wise wouldn't transition into trying to write a screenplay the same way that doesn't none of either one of these doesn't trade or translate into being able to write a rap song or a song of any form. So because
Yes,
they are
yeah.
different, yes, very much
Yeah,
so.
it's not the same thing at all. It's
Yeah,
not the same thing, and that's a lot of people. And it happens in a lot of different industries of just, I mean, entertainment and, even sports and, shit like that. People think that they can, just because they do one thing that contains one small aspect of both ends, that they can just do the other one easily when it's a whole different craft that they have to master.
right.
And yeah, so you can't go in it with a lot of bravado. You kind of just have to find yourself and, just find where your creativity stands, and you really just got to push that original image. That's always what I advocate for. Like, just because like my come up and everything, like it was a struggle for me, because like I said, when I met Resonate back when in 2021, um I didn't I was at the point in time, man, like I didn't think it was ever going to work out. I didn't think I was ever going to find a start, just because I lacked the resources. That's why I'm saying like Oklahoma just lacks the resources, just because the lack of the industrialization within the industry, in the
Right.
state and shit like that. I mean, you don't I mean, I don't see I see recording places, but they're not busy, and they're most likely just in tied with some kind of educational program, which makes it, less accessible to the people who actually want to pursue this for a career and not for some educational fucking purpose.
Right.
And yeah, no, so it's just a lack of resource. And then I went to Missouri, and a homie set me up with, the type of software that I needed to use. and shit like that. And I was able to start doing shit on my own, thank God. And that's why I was really blessed to meet dude. So yeah, yeah. So it was very hard for me because like as I was saying, like there, I don't know. I always just thought about it. I'm like, man, I'm just a white kid from the woods of Oklahoma. Like, where do I stand in this shit? Like, how am I gonna be able to, do this shit? Like, who am I? Like, like there, like, you know what I mean? I'm not from. I didn't have the best upbringing, shit like that. But I'm not from. I don't have some movie tale from like some big city with like pretty lights and shit like that. Like, I don't, like, nah, bro. I'm from the woods. Like, you know what I
Right.
mean? So you can see how it kind of, could be like a struggle to kind of make a name in something so fucking huge for areas entirely different with entirely different people, entirely different environments and shit like that. And yeah, that's why I said like on an originality basis, I personally feel like I'm making history like right now. Like I am the fastest growing at the moment. I'm like with what I've seen. I'm not. This isn't a statistical fact. This is just what I've seen. At the moment, I'm the fastest growing and most consecutively streamed Oklahoma rapper on Spotify. Like I'm personally, I feel like I'm doing things for the state.
There you go. There's the crowd going crazy.
Thank you, thank you. But like, nah, like I feel like I just feel like I'm doing a lot of shit for the state that nobody else is doing. And like I said, we want to talk about originality. We want to talk about an individualist. You type in 918 Slasher, I'm the only motherfucker with my name. So I mean, it really that speaks volumes. A lot of
Right.
people don't realize how deep that fucking actually said. Like, yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. So it's like, yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. I try like when I say that type shit, it's not me like sitting here. I mean, respectfully, we have people claiming like the king of New York, the king of this, the king of that, like the king of the South. Like I said, there was a track that I made. It's in the vault, and I said it, and one of the lyrics in it is I said you can claim the king of any state up in the South except this one. This my territory. This my jurisdiction. Like the state, I really feel like there ain't nobody else like me, and there's never gonna be another motherfucker like me. And I just feel like, and humbly and respectfully, I just feel like I'm doing shit differently. And with the team that I'm building, with artists from different locations, being Missouri and Arizona, like the three of us just as like a bro, the three of us has just done a lot in the last 2 years,
Right.
and I'm just yeah, I really just feel like I'm doing shit differently, and my team is the best team I could have ever fucking asked for, and
And you
yeah,
know,
no,
it's
it's yeah.
funny because I'm like, it sounds like done because you had talked about 24 and everything you had that you were talking about how you were anticipating and looking forward to 2024, and I keep thinking that's so far away, and it's not. I mean, even when you
No,
talk
man.
about your album drop, I'm like, oh my God, December. Oh my God, we're still in summer, but we're not in summer. We are not. We're
Nah.
definitely not in summer. So, so things are. I mean, it's so quickly changing and so it's so quickly going forward for you. I mean, I think that's awesome. So, so I am so glad that you took the time to join the program. I also wanted to give you the chance to shout out again where people can find you. So I'd mentioned that I had found you on YouTube when I typed in 918 Slasher. I found it, and that's where I was able to go view most of your catalogs of songs. And like I said, I spent a lot more time than I thought I was going, which was fine. I didn't know how in depth your catalog was. I was very happy, but I took the time to actually I wanted to listen to the songs because I wanted to know what type of artist you were because you can hear who a theme on this program is listen to people. They'll tell you exactly who they are. And so
Right.
you can hear that in your lyrics. And like I said, it was amazing that I'm listening. And a lot of times when I'm listening, I'll close my eyes and try to listen to the words. And when the lyrics, she a bad bitch, ass fat, damn, she looking good, my girl, I was like, hold on, I got to get back to that. So, but yeah, I mean, it stopped, and I was like, that was amazing. So it put a big smile on my face. So I'm so glad that I was able to find you there. So, but where else can people find you on social media?
You can literally on Instagram, King of Oklahoma is my username. You can find me on X. That's pretty much the two main ones that I use, to be honest with you. I won't
Okay.
really bother trying to find me on anything else. But like when it comes to DSP wise, Spotify, Apple Music, everything you could think of, 918Slasher and all of it. Like I said, I'm the only one with my name. Can't mistake me for anyone else. So yeah, I mean, check me out. New album dropping December 6th, 20 Years Dead. 10-track album with only one feature because I'm just, yeah, I don't fuck with anybody.
And for everyone that's still listening on the program, all this will be linked into to our Instagram. So if you follow at the Stone Genius on Instagram, we'll have all this information. I know you can't click the links on there, but we'll have all the information for 918 Slasher. And it was at King of Oklahoma. Is that correct?
Yeah, on Instagram,
On
yeah.
Instagram. So yeah, so we'll have that we'll tag him in that as well. So I want to thank you very much for being on the podcast. I hope to have you on again soon, sometime in the beginning of 2024, because you'll have dropped your current album. You'll have been moving past that, and you'll be into a new year. So I know that myself and the audience will be really excited to hear what's going on in your career at that point as well. So I hope you return to the program.
I would love to return, man. I appreciate you having me on. I appreciate everybody bearing with me with my shaky voice and my stuttering in the beginning because this is my first podcast like guest appearance. Like I've always been used to being on the other side of the stick, so I do appreciate everybody bearing with me and everything.
Well, thank you very much. Once again, I really appreciate you. You've been you've been great. I've loved interacting with you up to this time. I'm glad that we finally got the chance to record together. I'm glad that I had the chance to the additional time to listen to your catalog, because I very much appreciated that, because it does make me appreciate you as an artist and as a person too, because I say listen to people, and it's not always when they talk. It's when when they rap, when they're doing whatever. So it's nice to learn about you in that fashion, and I'm glad that the audience got introduced to you today, and I hope that many of them go out and seek you out, your music, and follow you on your socials as well.
I'm sorry. Thank you, bro. Thank you. Thank you for having me on again. And yeah, we will most definitely get another bit in for
Okay,
sure.
that sounds great. So for everyone else, thank you so much for listening to the Stone Genius podcast. My name's Ro. You know me. Often Stone. I'm always a genius. Talk to y'all later.